Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll continue reading from verse number 3 from Vaisnava Ke. What kind of devotee are you? Verse number 3. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete girim yat kripatam mande shri gurum dintarinam parmananda madhavam shri chataneshwaram hari om tatsat. Tomar kanak bhogera janak kanakera द्वारे सेवः माधव कामिनीर काम नहे तव धाम तहार मालिक केवल यादव. My dear mind, you are attached to wealth, and due to Maya's influence, you want to use your money simply for the gratification of your material senses, but by this you will get no eternal satisfaction. You should use the wealth at your disposal in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord Madhav Krishna. Only then can you experience transcendental bliss from wealth. Your lusty desires to enjoy beautiful women are not an abode where you can find real shelter. The supreme lover is Yadav Krishna. He is the supreme enjoyer and owner of everyone's love. Offer all your love and devotion to Lord Krishna and you will be completely satisfied. Purport. His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is imparting appropriate instructions to the mind. The mind requires satisfying instructions which are given here. This wealth of mind to which you are so attached does not belong to you. You have no right to enjoy it because it is not your property. There is only one rightful enjoyer of all your treasured possessions, and that is Lord Madhav Shri Krishna. If you really want to be happy, engage your wealth in the service of Lord Shri Krishna, Lord Madhav. Madhav is the name of Krishna, describing him as the killer of the Madhu demon. In other words, Krishna removes obstacles from the path of the devotee. The transcendentalist is careful in dealing with the wealth because it is the enemy of those who desire to enjoy it. By misusing wealth, one immediately comes under the control of the stringent law of karma and is bound to the wheel of repeated birth and death. Alternatively, by properly using wealth in the service of Madhav, who is the real enjoyer and the proprietor of wealth, then Madhav, the killer of Madhu demon, kills the demon of material attachment in the heart. When the demon of attachment is killed, wealth is no longer dangerous. Therefore, the transcendentalist scrupulously ensures that wealth is employed for no purpose other than the service of Lord Madhav. He sets aside only the minimum needed for maintaining the body and soul together and employs the rest of his accumulated wealth in the service of the Lord. Thus he cannot be caught in Maya's web. Bhayam dvitiya bhiniveshtaha syad ishad apetasya viparyayo smritihi tan maya yato buddha abhajet tam bhaktya kayesham guru devatatma. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency for illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and as his very life and soul. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, Chapter 2, verse 37. When a living being attempts to enjoy separately from the Lord, he enters Maya's web. Just as an unsuspecting insect flies into a spider's web and by struggling becomes increasingly entangled, so the equally unwitting living entity becomes increasingly implicated in illusion. The more he struggles to implement his independent plans, on the other hand, like a baby spider can crawl nonchalantly across the web. The devotee who is linked with Lord Madhav, the original author of illusion, remains free from material entanglement. By personal devotion and dedication of all one's wealth to Lord Madhav's service, one can easily be liberated from the web of illusion. Kaminira kama nahe tavdham. There is no shelter in sexual activities, nor should one dwell in the kingdom of concupiscent desires. Sex enjoyment is an attempt to imitate Krishna's position, and it entangles one more and more in this material world. Mahat sevam dwaram ahur vimuktes tamo dwaram yoshitam sangi sangam mahantas te samachittaha prashanta vimanayavaha suridaha sadhavo ye. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to highly advanced spiritual personalities or the Mahatmas. One should render service to the Mahatmas. For those who are not interested in such activities and who instead associate with people fond of women and sex, the path to hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful and are fully engaged in the devotional service. They are devoid of anger and work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in abominable ways. Such people are known as Mahatmas. Yeva maise krita soridartha janeshu dehambhara vartikeshu griheshu jayatatmaja rati matsu napriti yukta yavad arthash cha loke. Those who are interested in reviving Krishna consciousness and increasing the love for Godhead do not like to do anything that is not related to Krishna. They are not interested in mingling with people who are busy maintaining their bodies, simply eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. They are not attached to their homes, although they may be householders, nor they are attached to wives, children, friends, or wealth. At the same time, however, they are not indifferent to the execution of the duties. Such people are interested in collecting only enough money to keep the body and soul together. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 5, verses 2 and 3. In the mode of ignorance, the living being is overwhelmed by animal impulses for satisfying the sex urge. In the mode of passion, he accepts the scriptural regulations which prescribe responsible marriage and sex control for begetting children. In the mode of goodness, he accepts vanaprastha life, and husband and wife live without sexual contact and together engage in spiritual practices such as visiting holy places, reading Krishna conscious literature, serving the spiritual master, and preaching the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. Householders in Krishna consciousness should associate primarily on the platform of goodness, and once a month only for procreation they may have sexual contact, but by this they will keep practically free from the influence of passion and ignorance. Sex must be kept to a minimum. In materialistic society, sex life is unrestrained without any thought of responsibility. Those who engage in homosexuality, bisexuality, bestiality, and such acts are in the lowest mode of ignorance, far lower than ordinary married couple who are materially responsible. Responsible married people are in the mode of passion, but those who simply try to gratify their sexual organs are in gross ignorance. Indeed, they are lower than the animals because as human beings they ought to know better, but by following the Vedic regulations one can be elevated from the mode of ignorance to passion, then to goodness, and finally to transcendence. Pumsaha striya mithuni bhavam etam tayor mitho hridaya granthim ahu ato griha kshetra sutap Vitair janasya moho yam aham mameti. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attached to the body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter number 5, verse 8. In the Vanaprastha stage, the husband and wife should not visit holy places desiring elevation to the heavenly planets, but should instead engage in pure devotional service. By this transcendental engagement, all poison in the fangs of the venomous serpent of sexual attraction will be removed, so that even though in the association of the opposite sex one will be unaffected by the sex impulse. The sex impulse cannot be controlled from the mode of ignorance or passion, but only by activities in the mode of goodness or in transcendence. Sexual intercourse is like putting ghee on a fire. For a moment, the fire dies down, but then again flares up. Sexual control cannot be achieved without positive spiritual practice and spiritual association. In the spiritual world, there is also sex life, but it is nothing like the material version. Uncontaminated conjugal love is called Madhurya Ras in Sanskrit. The gopis are the lovers, and Krishna is the only beloved, the only master, the only husband. If one wishes to enjoy pure love, the pure sex which is not of this material world but of the spiritual world, then one must not become a victim of materialistic sex desire. Rather, with purified consciousness, one must engage in the service of Yadav Krishna. Only then one can understand the standard of real love in all five relationships. The Shantaras, which is the neutrality, Dasyaras, which is servitorship, Sakyaras, which is friendship, Vatsalyaras, that is parenthood, and Madhuriras, the conjugal love. Do not try to imitate the Lord, serve Him and fully realize what spiritual love is. So, with this, we have come to the end of the verse number 3, and we'll continue with verse 4 reading next time. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Guru Maharaj ki Jai.